Today we're going to learn how to incorporate counterpoint in your solo playing and your improvisation by learning 4 simple patterns. They're gonna make you sound like a jazz fucking genius, and they actually are very simple. Let's dig in. We'll start by me just giving you the patterns themselves. The second one, the third one, and the fourth one. So this is all the information that this video is gonna have, but don't check out because you'll never know how to apply it if you do, and most importantly, how to think about it, because I just played a sequence of musical things, 8 things to be exact, but 6 of the moves were identical, and that's the point. That's the real trick of the way I'm seeing it. So let's take a step back and talk about the scale I'm using. I'm using a scale called the major bebop scale, or the Barry Harris scale, or the 6 diminished scale, or major add flat 6. So it's a C major scale where I add a G sharp. Now the trick is this. I am seeing the guitar is 2 pianos. 3 strings is 1 piano and the other 3 strings are the other piano. So G, B, and A represent 1 piano, and then I have a different piano, one for ascending and one for descending, or moving towards each other the opposite way. So let's start with the first scale, the first pattern. So I'm going to see this ascending piano right here, 4 notes per string, 4 notes per string, 1 note. And then the other one, 3, 4, 2. Now, when I put them together, when I think about this scale, the trick is to know how to conceptualize it harmonically. So instead of seeing it like a major scale with an added note, I am seeing it as 2 groups of chords, as 2 arpeggios. That scale has a C6, which is 1, 3, 5, and 6 of the scale, and then it has a B diminished. Now the trick is to think about it modally in the parent scale, meaning I'm calling that C1, and then I'm seeing all the other intervals as distances from that 1. So what I call diminished notes are the notes starting on the 2, 4, flat 6, and 7th. Now all the diminished notes invert symmetrically. So that means that every other thing I grab is going to be diminished notes, some combination of them. But if I memorize the pattern, that pattern stays the same in every one of these transpositions of the scale. So let's take a look at that. Let's just label things by chord tones and diminished notes. Chord tones, diminished notes. Chord tones, diminished notes. Chord tones, diminished notes. Chord tones, diminished notes. If I just play the diminished notes, here's the pattern. It's a 13th, a flatted 10th, a 6th, and then a minor 3rd. If I look at the bass motion, it arpeggiated the D diminished 7. In the scale, that's the 2, 4, flat 6, and 7. If I attach the counterpoint from the top, I get these intervals, which is also just an arpeggio going down. But it sounds like this. I need to think about it like double stops to execute it, not just 2 lines in the scale. But the thing is, I can just play the same shit a minor 3rd down and it sounds like this. And another minor 3rd down from G sharp. And I can play it from this area from F. So when I take a look at these patterns, 6 out of the 8 moves I'm doing are repetitive between every mode starting from the chord tone, starting from G, from A, from C, and from E. That's unique to this contrary motion in this scale, meaning I have a 2-octave shape. That's true no matter where I start it on a chord tone. I also have the 5th doubled as a 1-octave shape. And then I have these 4 diminished shapes cutting through it that are the same in every transposition. So really the only things I really have to find that are unique to each mode are whatever is happening off the 3rd if I'm ascending and off the 6th, from this note and from this note. Check this out. So the next question would be like, okay, that's a cool party trick, but how do I use it in context? Well, you gotta listen to it first. When you run it up and down, you're gonna notice something, that when you do it from this unison, it's gonna sound cool because you have this feeling of splitting, right? The line starts at the same place and then it splits to two lines. There's a sophisticated sort of feeling to that, right? That kind of pattern. But if I do it the opposite way, reaching the unison feels like the conclusion, that cadence, that arrival is shrinking, it's disappearing. So it's not ideal. Right? Like I had two voices, but somehow it shrunk. So you can resolve it to something that thickens it, like a chord. That would be a good way if you're going towards the unison. That's all right, but you don't want to get to this place where you're just getting to like a doubled note. It feels like it's sucking the air out of it. But on the more fundamental level, the area of this whole sound that's more exciting is the 2-octave shape either moving inward or that 1-octave shape from the 5th moving outward, because here you really have this distance between the voices that's really nice sounding. And if you do it this way, it kind of sounds like you're going 1 to the 5, right? Or, so that's a 5-1. You can use that in 2-5-1, like. Right, it's a little square, but it works. You can use it from that 5th to the 1, to the unison. Let's talk about some of the other modes, the other contrary motion parts, chord tone to chord tone. So A to A gives you the sound of an A minor, moving to an E7, and then an E7, moving to an A minor. Hear that? So if I have that motion of moving towards the unison from the 5th, from the E's, I can use that in a minor 2-5-1 to A minor. So I can use it two ways. I can move inward with contrary motion or outward from the 5 chord. Or here's another mode. I can go G to G. Now 5-1, just a 2-5-1, that gives me like motion from the root inwards. Or I can go from the unison outward, like. Another thing I can do is this last mode from the 3rd. That really sounds like an E7 moving to A minor, and that's my favorite sound here. I have this. Think minor swing, right? That's pretty cool. That's just using the same exact shape. I can also go from a unison the other way. So it's a super cool way of thinking. Now there are other Barry Harris scales. This is just one of them. There are 5. You have the major 6, the minor 6, the dominant 7, the dominant 7 flat 5, and symmetric diminished. And they all could be used in this way. And not to mention, you can also start this contrary motion from the diminished bits in the scale. So check out our Patreon to unlock this secret and every other secret of the universe, because it is the mega Patreon. It's the best one. Leave a comment below for a chance to win a free month on our Patreon that will alter your life for the better. And also subscribe, leave a comment, thumbs up, do all the things, and we'll see you next time.